Okay, so after quite some time, I have decided to look into the AFCONs properly. Obviously, a lot has actually happened regarding the AFCONs, especially this edition, which is currently being played out. We've seen a lot of drama between certain teams. I mean, for instance, look at Congo and Nigeria. There's a lot to be said already, and also with Algeria as well. There's been quite a lot of drama in this particular edition of the AFCONs. So for me to all of a suddenly pivot from my usual World Cup prediction videos into this is quite different. Anyway, currently there are four teams left. Obviously, uh, as at the time of me doing this review, um, I think the semi-finals takes place tomorrow. So yeah, you got Senegal, Egypt, Nigeria, and Morocco. Obviously, Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast is not in this. They got knocked out by, I believe it was probably, they got knocked out either by Morocco or Egypt or Senegal. I can't actually remember because I can't actually remember that match. I was more interested in the Nigeria-Algeria match, which took place last time. So yeah, Senegal, Egypt, Nigeria, Morocco. And individually, when you look at these four African nations, they each have a point to prove as to why they should be the next African champions after Ivory Coast. For Senegal, they've already won it. Um, looking back at 2021, I believe, when they actually faced Egypt in that final. So this is just a replay of that final between Egypt and Senegal. Obviously, Sadio Mane isn't as young as he used to be 5 years or 6 years ago. And you've got Salah as well, who both used to be teammates in Liverpool. For Senegal, winning it again would prove to be like impactful in terms of like how they've come as a football nation over these past 6 years. Well, in terms of like what it adds to their legacy compared to Egypt, who haven't won it in almost clo- close to 10, 15 years now. For Egypt, it makes more sense that they would actually want it more. Um, Obviously, because Salah has already won everything he can win in Europe. And what's left for him to really add to his trophy cabinet, realistically, is an AFCON. If he wants to seal his legacy as the greatest African football player, arguably after George Weah. But then again, you could say that he could actually surpass that legacy by winning this AFCON. And also, he's looking at trying to secure his next big move after the season because there's this possibility that Salah might not be in Liverpool next season. So this AFCON is the perfect way to sort of build up his um his momentum going into whatever club he wishes to go in. He wishes to join next after Liverpool. Nigeria and Morocco. I must admit, for Nigeria, I'm actually quite impressed because Nigeria in particular, none of us actually expected them to have this bounce back after that disastrous qualification episode which they went through for the 2026 World Cup. So for them to pick up the pieces and to go into this AFCON with this determination is just insanely good, like insanely incredible. Because now it is obviously there. to see for all of us to notice that they have a point to prove. Um, and winning this AFCON could rectify or sort of like undo the wrong that happened in terms of like where they got it wrong with the qualification phase for the World Cup. So this sort of makes up for them if they manage to win this AFCON. And for Victor Osimhen, adding this trophy to his cabinet is a huge statement. Again, it could also cement his legacy in terms of African football. But more importantly, it could also open up the doors for other European clubs to come in for him now. Because even though Galatasaray in Turkey is quite a good club, you would expect him to be playing in places like the Premier League or in Spain or somewhere else, where his profile as a player could evolve and grow further. So this African win could also bolster his player profile and attract a big move also as well this summer. Morocco, this is pivotal. This is a key moment for them, particularly due to the fact that they are the host nation. They've had this project going on for quite some time now, where they've managed to build themselves up as a football nation from the grassroots. Compared to most African countries, I think the only other country that comes close to them in terms of like having a really good domestic structure of football would be South Africa. And you could make the argument also for an Egypt as well. But for Morocco, it's like they've had this project going on now, and it's all going to culminate with the 2030 World Cup when they co-host with Spain and Portugal. But before that, they've managed to win the under 20 World Cup as well. And obviously, we know what they did in 2022, making the semi-finals of the World Cup in Qatar. So for them to just win this one on home soil too is a massive statement, especially going into the next two World Cups after this, because it sets them on this trajectory where anything is possible. And if they manage to achieve this feat, it puts them in that category of favorites to win, um, not just next year's World, not just not just this year's World Cup, but the one in 2032. Um, so in terms of who makes it out of this into the finals, it is tricky to predict. On one hand, yes, I I still do believe that Egypt could win this AFCON. I just have this feeling that they might actually win it. But then again, you could have a final between Egypt and Morocco. You could also have a final between Senegal and Morocco. For the matchup between Morocco and Nigeria, it's going to be quite a tricky one too because it could easily go into extra time or even penalties because pound for pound, both sides are quite good. Nigeria obviously have um, quite a lot of creative attacking talent, whereas Morocco sort of make up for the attack mostly with the midfield and the defensive structure as well, having a fantastic goalkeeper in Bono. Um, Same could also be said with the matchup between Senegal and Egypt too, where you could also see a replay of the final from the 2022 AFCON. Hopefully this time without lasers being flashed around in the stadium. Um, but if I have to put it through, I think Egypt can make it through into the final. And yeah, you could have Morocco also in the final too. Let's just assume if Nigeria manages to go into the final, you could also have a matchup between Senegal and Nigeria. In which case, then it is possible for Nigeria to win. But then if you have a matchup between Egypt and Nigeria in the final, it is most likely that Egypt might win that one. If you had a matchup between Senegal and Morocco, yeah, Morocco could win it, but then in this instance, I have this feeling that Senegal's attacking talent might just etch them through. So the final between Senegal and Morocco could lead to Senegal winning. But then again, you also have to take into account the referees in this one too. Because if the referees are somehow corrupt, then yeah, Morocco could win that one. If it's a final between Senegal and Morocco. If it's a final between Egypt and Morocco, it could go either way. And in which case, I would say Egypt will win in that final. There is a final between Egypt and Nigeria. I'll still say Egypt. But then if that final goes into penalties, then Nigeria could actually win it. If but then if it's just 90 minutes, Egypt could win it on that one. Um and yeah, a final between Senegal and Morocco. We'll see Senegal winning it. A final between Senegal and Nigeria. We'll see Nigeria actually winning. If it's a final between Senegal and Nigeria, Nigeria would win that final. But if it's a final between either Egypt and Nigeria or Egypt and Morocco, I have Egypt winning it. Yeah. And again, it's just it's hard to call because all four teams are quite good. So we just have to wait and see for this one.